So hello there. I know some of you have asked for some videos for home workout and some to practice over the holidays. So there are a lot of requests around some of our strength-based work we do in the class. So I'm going to do a couple of short videos to build in some of those strength exercises. So in the class, just to explain, we do a lot of strength-based exercises with movement variability. So what I mean by movement variability is we add in a lot of change of direction and rotation aspects to our strength-based training. So a lot of the traditional strength training is very linear, very kind of robotic and rigid. So you might hear cues like pull the belly button into the spine or bring the shoulder blades back and down. And that creates just that little bit of rigidity and bracing through the trunk, which doesn't allow you to get that nice turn through the rib cage and through the thorax, which is actually a very fundamental movement pattern to everyday life. When you walk and run, we need to be able to access those ranges. And we've tons of rotation in all aspects of the body. So through the spine and neck, through that middle back to reach, through the hips and pelvis. And the other thing about that movement variability, it connects your deeper core unit to your outer core unit. So your deeper muscles tend to do those subtle rotations. And the bigger outer unit does the more linear stuff. So the two need to work in harmony to, function and try and keep ourselves in the best shape as possible and avoid injury, particularly when you're loading up. So if you're loading up through a very braced system, it's hard to absorb that load. So we call it strength and mobility is equal to adaptability. So you can adapt to a sudden change of direction or to load, and that is a little bit more efficient movement practice. The other thing about that bracing cue is it does create quite a breath change of breath pattern. So we want a nice wide breath because your rib cage goes from front to back and you have tons of lovely lung tissue at the back. Whereas when you pull the belly button into your spine or bring the shoulder blades back and down, you close down that back area and there's very little room for the lovely opening and expansion, so your breath is more efficient. So they're the type of tweaks I'll be bringing into some of our exercises. I'll break them down into smaller practices so you can access them more easily. So the first one we'll start is with our lunge or split stance. Very, very popular strength-based exercise for strengthening the lower limbs. But I'm going to bring in that trunk rotation into that. So let's get set up on the mat. I'm going to use some weights, so you can use some weights or not. You can just work on the movement pattern because you have your own body weight going through it. But obviously to build and progress muscle mass, you need to add your resistance. So let's take a split stance. So one leg in front, the other behind. And I'm going to take my block, so it's about a foot in front of my back knee. That's just giving me a directional cue to where to lower the knee toward. With what I see a lot is people go into a lunge and they lift if you're digesting that cue, or shoulders back and down, pull the belly to the spine, you have this big shift forward of the trunk. My back knee is way behind my hip and you're kind of bypassing the glute work that you want to get working here. So by having a little directional cue behind or in front of that back leg about a foot, we'll drop the back knee down. So I'm getting directly under my hip, and then just adjust your foot position to there. So move your ankle in front of that knee. I will go from there. So we'll just warm that up. You can take a weight in your hand if you want, just to warm it up. And we'll go for 8 to 10. So 8, 7, 6, 5. Now really let the trunk soften, so we're not doing that brace, just for a second or so you can absorb that weight. 3 and 2 and 1. Lovely. Now to add in the rotational component, I'm going to lower, so my right leg is in front, so I'm going to use my opposite hand to my opposite leg. That's how we work in real life. When you walk or run, your opposite hand goes with your opposite leg. So I'm going to drop that back knee and then add a reach. Now reach as far as you can, so you get this slight forward lean of the trunk. Open the palms wide, and it's slightly across the body, not a big across the body, almost just in front of the front knee there. And up I go. And let's go for 5. I have a weight in my opposite hand to swing it back. So you're getting this turn of the trunk on your pelvis, and you'll start to feel this into that front glute, so the leg in front glute. The back quad is working here as well. So let's try that for 30 seconds or so. So add that reach. Reach, a little swing of the other hand. So from the front it looks like this. So you're reaching slightly across and you really feel that front thigh and glute work. Let's go. 5 and 4, 3. So you're getting that back knee directly down towards the floor or block. And this is really nice because this really is what happens when you run or walk or playing sports. You need that turn and rotation on a good strong pelvis, not linear. 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lovely. And then we'll switch to the other side. So in the switch, when you're taking a little break, I like to just add in that rotation swing as you gather your breath. Because again, you're getting that lovely turn from the trunk, a little bit of weight through it. And this is really good to get equal breath as well to each side. Okay, so let's go to the other side. So this time, left leg in front, right leg behind. We can lower one weight for a second. Just drop down towards your block. Then adjust that front leg, so the ankle under the knee roughly, but just not that we're dropping. That's a lovely stretch pattern. Sometimes we hinge to the back and close it down. So let's try. You can have the second weight now if you feel comfortable. I will just go up and down here before we add that rotation, with nice softness through the trunk rather than this rigidity. And actually having the weights in the trunk drops it a little bit, or in the hand, drops it a little bit. 4, 3, 2, and 1. So you can drop the weight in your right hand. So we're going to add the reach now with our right hand. Left leg is working. So stand up into that split squat position, drop, and then reach. See how I'm really moving from my shoulder blade, scapula area. That gets my trunk turning, and it gets a little lean forward in the trunk. That means I have to work my hip muscles to control that. So we'll reach, swing that other hand back a little bit as well. And we'll head out for 20 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lovely. Take a breath. Grab your other weight, swing. So it's like you're going to throw those weights forward. Yeah, and that lovely release through the trunk, but with weight. So it's that lengthening and strengthening, mobility and strength together. Just gives far more efficiency to your muscle system and really prevents injury in your strength training. So if you are doing a strength-based exercise, just bring some of these tips into it and see how you go. All right, other little exercise that I find really good in that lunge position, if you have a block, and if you don't, you could use a thick book on a pillow or a cushion. So it's just to elevate the front leg. So see if we can get the front third of your foot onto a block. And again, let's get us set up in our split stance position. So this is kind of really going to challenge the balance. It's going to work your front calf and quad quite a bit, as well as the bum. So the press of the foot into your blocks. I want you to press that forefoot, front third, at a small elevation of the heel. Don't go wild with the heel lift. It's just a small press. That adds a subtle rotation into that midfoot area. So you get this, what we call pronation of the foot. So it's a slight turn in of your middle foot, and that really causes a whole chain effect right up into the hip, and you'll feel it quite nicely into that front glute, but the whole leg. And this is really functional because when you take weight onto that leg in stride stance or on one leg, you need to be able to absorb that weight. Sorry, you can't see me. Absorb that weight a little bit and then come up for push off and power. Okay, so the front third of the foot is on that block. You're going to take the weight, just practice getting the weight onto the front foot by coming off the back heel. That's a balance challenge in itself. Lovely. And then you're going to stay over that front leg. Tailbone just back a little bit so you've got a bit of a hinge. And then you're going to drop down into that squat. I'm going to take my back leg back a little bit there. And we'll go for it. Don't worry too much about the back leg in this one because you are going to get, it doesn't affect that front load as much. So I'm going to build up my weight because this is a lower limb exercise and I can take more. 5 and 4. So you're pressing into the inside of the foot to get that subtle inward rotation right up into the hip. 4, 3. Now if you have a wall close by, you can pop your hand in it if the balance is not great, and it may not be when you're first starting. But you'll really feel a quad little workout, glute workout, ankle workout here. It's a fabulous little subtle rotation. And if you're confident, then you can add that reach, but that takes a little bit of work. So let's try 30 seconds on each leg. 9, 8, 7, and you'll feel a quiver here. I'm quiver at 4, 3, 2, lovely, 10 seconds left. 10, 9, 8, 7, 2, and 1. Whew. That is a big workout on that leg. We'll go to the other side now. So I'm going to switch around so that if you need the wall, it's always good to use the opposite hand on the wall. All right, so start to shift that weight forward and back till you feel comfortable. If it's not comfortable on that front leg, you can leave the back leg down and it'll naturally come off the floor. So let's go for 30 seconds. And 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Remember to do that small little heel lift really challenges the leg. And that's that additional rotation. Because that additional rotation just connects that lower body, our inner body, to outer muscle unit. That's so essential. It's really, really underestimated. Last 5, 4, 3, and 2, and one last one. Fabulous. And remember to do little swings in between. Whew, good work. Okay, so I hope that helps. I'll be making a few more videos and popping them up here. Any special requests, let me know.